Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses, the show where Moon and I are trying to catch up on all the media hits we missed. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hi, I guess.
Yeah, we're continuing our first foray into romantic comedies here for season 19. We are hot on the heels of a surprisingly great movie from the last episode.
Uh-huh.
Which, if you haven't seen that movie because you haven't heard of it like us, you should go watch it. It was genuinely really good.
Yeah, probably would be a good idea.
Yeah, this one we're gonna cover 2013's Enough Said. This is another one that I haven't seen, but I have intended to for a couple of years here, because not only is it pretty highly rated, but it stars Julia Louis-Dreyfus and James Gandolfini as the two leads here, both of whom
Okay.
I like quite a bit. Also, I don't
So I recognize the gentleman. So I would, if you said those names to me, I wouldn't know the names. I don't know the names.
So James Gandolfini is the guy from Sopranos.
Sopranos
yeah,
guy.
Tony, the main
Yes.
character, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus is probably best known as Elaine on Seinfeld or the main character on Veep, where she played the VP.
That's why I don't know them.
Okay, she's been in like a million comedy TV shows and movies and stuff. I don't think she's played anything kind of really big other than this in maybe the last 10 or so years. I think she's been kind of taking a little bit easy kind of career wise, but definitely best known for Seinfeld. Have you heard anything about this movie?
No,
Okay.
not in the slightest.
So
Like,
we haven't. I don't think we've seen anything with Gandolfini or Louis Dreyfus here on this show so far. What? I don't think you've seen anything with Julia Louis Dreyfus. Have you seen anything with Gandolfini in it?
I recognize the face. I know he's the Sopranos guy. But the big thing for that as well is I haven't seen The Sopranos. Don't at me. I don't need to watch a 9-season show right now,
It's
please.
so long, dude. I made it like halfway through The Sopranos. I watched the final episode, of course, because everybody did because of the final shot of that show, which you can figure out if whether you hate me or not here right now with the next thing I'm going to say. I like the final shot of The Sopranos. Don't at me.
It's a good final shot. It's the way a show like that should end. Yeah, I haven't seen it. Yes, I know it just cuts to black. Yes, I don't care.
Yep.
It's the way a show like that should end.
Have you seen 2001's The Mexican? A movie?
The Brad Pitt movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
James Gandolfini is in that. He is the person who is taking Julia Roberts kind of all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got a very generic bad guy mafia vibe to him, and that's probably because of the Sopranos. I mean, let's face it.
And that's part of the reason why I'm really excited to watch this, because he is a really great actor, and I've seen him in probably a handful of things. But, he played that kind of vulnerable mobster in Sopranos, kind of for better or for worse, and he did it so well that I think everybody's just like, yeah, that's Tony Soprano. Like, what is he doing here in a romantic comedy?
Yeah, so technically this could be issuing for our actors in unusual roles season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think, is this the last thing he did before he passed? No, he did one more movie after this. This is his first posthumous release after his passing in 2013.
Great.
So, but yeah, I like the two of them a lot. I don't know if I've seen her in a role like this. Also, Catherine Keener and Toni Collette are in this as well. So, like a very heavy hitters, kind of very serious actors roster here, which is kind of nice.
Interesting. I always get Toni Collette mixed up with the other. I think she's a Toni. Toni Collette is the
Tony
dramatic
Soprano,
actress.
right?
Not... yes, Tony Soprano.
Ba-da-ba-ba.
No, her name probably isn't even Tony, but she feels like a Tony.
Mm-hmm.
The lady who does the Chucky movies.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Her.
Oh, no, it's Tilly. It's Jennifer Tilly.
Oh,
There
yeah.
we go.
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly.
She looks
Haven't
like
seen
a Tony.
her in anything we've watched yet, I guess.
Nope.
Usually she pops up as kind of a character actor. Well, I guess she's always kind of playing the same character because she has that very distinctive voice.
Yeah,
but
she's always playing Jennifer Tilly.
that's right. Yeah, I don't think there's the actor doesn't fall too far from the tree on that one.
So I will be honest, I know nothing about this movie.
Yeah,
Nothing at all. So all I have to go on is a title.
Yeah, I'm in the same spot too, which is kind of it's same thing with our last movie we watched. A lot of people are like, you should probably go watch this movie. It's one of the good romantic comedies you've never heard of. I also like, so Long Shot, our last movie, I was interested in it because it's very much, here's one of the most attractive actors on the planet, and then here's Seth Rogen. How are they going to address that disparity on the surface level? And they do, in a really interesting way that I thought turned out really nicely. The thing that I'm interested in Enough Said is that both of these are older actors. They're not like late teens, early 20s, which we kind of usually sometimes like, if they're quote unquote getting old, they're like 27 years old, like they're in a JRPG or something.
Yes.
So I'm kind of curious to see, like, these are two actors that have been around for a while, and how does a romantic comedy kind of deal with two middle-aged actors? Which is a thing I don't think I've seen that much.
I think we can probably agree that maybe like 2010 was probably around about the start of, let's maybe not, keep doing rom-coms with kids, essentially. Like, let's maybe start aiming this at a slightly more appropriate age group. I
wonder how much
before that.
I wonder how much of that is a result of Garden State being so big.
Yes,
and it may be a reaction.
People.
Yeah, but a reaction to that of like, you can tell an early 20s story here and have it kind of be okay. Let's keep pushing. And I know there've been like comedies and romantic comedies featuring, let's say, the bucket list age of kind of not elderly but kind of older people. But I'm not sure I've seen anything that's been in this kind of specific range here, which is great for the show.
I think it's a really good, like, a decent little mix, like, to throw this kind of thing in. And I'm pretty sure Stella is a similar age group, which I know we're ending this season with.
Right. So,
but based off the title, what am I gonna say? So based on the title.
Enough said.
Is it not communicating? Is it an established? I'm going to go with an established couple. I'm going to go with struggling relationship because of lack of communications. The meat of the ratio is obviously the happy family life with the older kids who've already moved out. The condiment conflict is going to be them not being able to communicate with each other anymore and things kind of falling apart a little bit. And then the big bun resolution is going to be something happens and they finally talk. They go to therapy, whatever it is. They finally be able to talk. Or they start to see from the other person's point of view. And like despite the fact that I do 17,000 podcasts with this guy.
Hi.
I am actually a man of few words.
Ditto, also.
In the real world,
right,
you're lucky if you get 3 words out of me on a day.
Yeah, when I put away the podcast voice, there aren't many words there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. I spent all day on the phone talking at work. I spent all day podcasting 24 hours a day as well, apparently.
Right.
Um, hashtag content. Um, and then I don't want to talk anymore. Like, I just
Right.
don't. Like,
I'm all done.
my voice doesn't. I, like, my energy was used up at like 10 in the morning, let alone by like
Right.
5 p.m.
Right.
So I'm curious if it becomes a case of, yeah, maybe the meaning of enough said is how few words can mean a lot depending on the person. Because I know
Mm.
with me, if I say a little, it means a lot.
Mm.
If I say nothing, that means a lot too, but in probably the opposite
Right. That's a
direction.
whole different thing.
Uh-huh.
For me, I wonder how much of this is. My guess is this is maybe going to be a like second chance at love kind of thing, like maybe a post divorce, maybe post
Mm-hmm.
loss sort of thing, where they're kind of getting a second chance at a relationship or a second chance at something, and maybe the the conflict here is maybe preconceived expectations due to their past relationships, or maybe like ex-husband or wife meddling or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being a potential thing, but yeah, I'm largely just kind of interested to see what this is, especially out of these two actors, which are I both like quite a bit, and you kind of you're not sick of either one. Be like, oh, here's another James Gandolfini movie. You know, he put out like 5 of them. You know, like he wasn't super prolific before his passing. So,
Yeah.
very curious. Any final thoughts here for enough said?
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I think
ditto.
it should be interesting to continue. Well, my feet are wet. Let's see if I go ankles in or like hover above the pool
Right? Are you
after
getting
this
out of the
movie.
pool after this one and saying not for me, no thanks?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm mixing my metaphors so much today, but
that's
that's
right.
fine.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's go watch the movie.
Yup.
We're back. We've watched the film. We've
Uh-huh.
watched Enough Said. 2013's Enough Said, in case you have gotten to the second part of this episode and watched the wrong one, because
Yes,
did have
and
James
didn't.
Gandolfini in it.
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
key question.
Boy, this is gonna be a harder one, I think.
Yes, yes. So let's get it out the way first and foremost. All of our predictions were kind of wrong at the start.
Yeah, maybe for better or for worse. We weren't super close. This is let me just say up front here. I liked this movie a whole lot.
It's slow.
It's the most slice of life thing I have watched in a really long time. And
Oh crap! You know what? You just reminded me that this reminds me of Garden State.
okay, yeah, with a little bit less existential dread, maybe a little less
Uh-huh.
Shin's soundtrack. But yeah, it's one of those movies that like I don't want to like start here with a showstopper, but like one of those movies that I really like, and I'm not sure who I would recommend it to because
Uh-huh.
it's the slow story of two people kind of falling in love, and it's got the 3 act structure to a T, and it's
Uh-huh.
a quiet and kind of personal movie, and I like that a lot, but it's just kind of it. If you're looking for something to like chill out to and enjoy, no one yells in this
This
movie.
is
There's no
this is definitely
gunshots.
that.
Yeah, like yeah. Um, I go ahead. Oh, Moon is giving me the hand signals. I'm going to stretch it because his headphones have likely died. Okay, we're back. Technical issues.
Uh-huh.
Hooray! Recording audio. Yay!
Yay!
So I think we were saying that it's kind of the chillest chill out movie that you're gonna see.
Yes, definitely. It's not bombastic. It's not huge. It's not trying to do anything loud and obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you said. It's slice of life.
Yep.
Like, and honestly, we probably don't get enough of those. Would be the thing I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Too often we end up with the last movie, The Long Shot. Like that is a kind of out there concept.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastical.
And it's great. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic for what it is. But this is very much a case of as a 30 something and 40 something
Yep.
talking about this movie, it kind of hits home. Like
Yeah, it's a very. I think I was hoping in the first part when we were talking about this about having something that's a little bit more grounded, a little bit more adult, and we definitely did. It's about some 40 somethings after their respective divorces, their marriages fell apart, their kids are going off to college, they're kind of in the same place in life.
mhm.
The Albert's character is weird. I kind of like that he's like Eva, the Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, is kind of like a fairly normal person. I think she's a masseuse. She's got a little business. She's projecting some of her abandonment issues about her kid onto her kid's friend. Yay, hooray!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of a. I feel like that's probably one of the most kind of accurate and kind of almost heartbreaking parts of this movie, which is just like, man, she's really struggling with this in a way that feels pretty real.
Yeah, and not only is she struggling with it in that way, but also she's failing to notice the effects that it's having on everybody else.
Right.
Like, so a lot of her actions are really bothering her kid,
Yeah.
and she's not really opening her eyes and smelling the roses kind of situation. Which
Right.
the kid does explain it towards the end of the movie. It's like, yeah, I needed some distance because this is not just hard for you, it's hard for me too.
Right. Yeah. And I kind of like that Albert is kind of this, like, he's weird in a regular way.
Can we talk about James Gandolfini being the most disarmingly charming character in this entire movie?
He's such a good actor. Like I feel like more people really needed to see him and stuff because like he's just this like big charming dude. And he plays it really straight and like
In my defense, like for me as well, it also helps that like I'm English. So spoiler alert for those of you who don't know, I'm not from America, and our sense of humor is very, well, mine particularly, especially in the north of England, it's very dry, it's very sarcastic, very sardonic,
right.
and lightly insulting is how I would phrase it. Like
gently ribbing.
We take jabs at people because we care. Because as an English person, you're not allowed to say "I love you."
Right.
I love you, listeners. I have learned my lesson.
That's right. That's right.
But it speaks to that part of me where it's like, yeah, his sarcasm is just so on point, and he's so quick with everything that he responds with. It's like, okay, this is my kind of humor. This is my kind of sarcasm. This is my kind of humor. Like the whole thing. He's so good though.
And I like too that like it feels like such a realistic movie because when you're with someone for a long time and you've sort of fallen out of emotions or feelings or love or whatever you want to say, every little thing drives you crazy. So like I love that the weirdest thing that his ex-wife, who Catherine Keener does a great job in this movie, is like pushing around the onions in like salsa or guacamole.
The guacamole thing, yeah.
And it's just like, it's the smallest, most annoying thing, but I feel like we've all been there where it's like, why are you like this? Why are you the way that you are? Like, why are you? And at the beginning, you're like, it's like onions. Yeah, that's kind of cute. Whatever. And I like that. That's the thing that like bridges the gap between Ava and Albert's ex-wife, kind of figuring out that they're connected to the same person.
Yes.
It's the flippin' onions.
Yes, this is potentially hard to explain here. So, my biggest thing about this movie that I didn't like, overall, I did like the movie. I genuinely did. I didn't like how much of an a-hole so many people in this movie were. Like, Albert's ex-wife is a perfectly fine Bohemian Rhapsody kind of person who I despise that kind of person. And mostly because it's the snobbishness, it's the looking down on people, it's
the holier than thou kind of thing.
Yeah, that is the thing I hate. If you're Bohemian and you're listening, that's fine.
Hey, let me tell you about living in Southern California, Moon.
Yeah, I don't know how you managed to get this show through your Leafcast or whatever the hell you listen to it on, but whatever. But it's one of those things where it's like I don't. Me personally, one of the big things for me is I don't care how you, as a human, both you, Boston, and listeners and people in the streets, I don't care how you live your life.
Right.
But I won't judge you. You don't judge me.
Yeah, just don't hurt anyone and we're fine.
Yeah, if I want to go out looking like a hobo, I will go out looking like a hobo. If I want to go out smartly dressed. Dude, I literally went to Walmart last night in my pajamas, but that's par for the course for that place. So
it's a really great scene. The first time Ava goes over to Albert's house for like Sunday brunch, and he's just like, "What? I'm comfy. I'm in my house. Like, what are you?" And she's like, "You're wearing pajamas." It's like, "Yeah, why?" It's just like, all right, fair enough.
But it's one of those things. Like that's the thing about the ex-wife that bothers me is how judgy she is about everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have friends because you probably push them all away because you judge them according to your own standards. You don't let people be people.
Yeah, you judge them out of your life.
That's why you don't have friends. And Albert probably didn't have friends when he was married to you because of you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. But that bothered me. The main... I already forgot her name. The main character's name, the lady.
Ava.
And it's a temptation that we've all had, that we've all done. Like, she is getting inside scoop information, but she's also not smart enough to realize how damaging that is for her perspective.
The temptation is too strong of just like, what is he really like? Like, what is... you know everything. How much dirt can I get?
But it's like 5-10 years ago, I maybe would have gone down that route. These days, no, not a chance. I will make my decisions on my opinions.
And that's what I think is so strong about both of their characters, is that they genuinely do feel human. Like, Albert has this comfortable life he's living, and my wife makes fun of me so much. I love this scene so much where she's in his bathroom and he has like however many toothbrushes.
16 mouthwashes.
Like 16 mouthwashes. That's me with Q-tips. Or I like go to the grocery store and I was like, oh yeah, I should buy Q-tips. No, I have 6 boxes at home already. Here's a 7th. It's just
honestly, it's weird because I'm the same with Q-tips. It's like I'd rather always have Q-tips than not, because when your ears need cleaning or when something needs cleaning around the house, I could run a Costco
out of my garage with Q-tips.
It's the worst feeling when you need them and you don't have them. And Q-tips are cheap, inexpensive. They don't take up storage space.
They stack real nicely. Perfect. See, you and me, man. But I like his reaction. That's right. I like his reaction where she's like, "You have like 60 toothbrushes," and he's like, "I mean, I only use one." It's just like, it's real good.
I have 4 toothbrushes.
Yeah. See, I managed to only have one, but I don't. The temptation is strong
because I moved. So I had one in the new place, one in the old place.
Oh, sure.
And I have an electric one which I need to get repaired, so that's currently just sitting right next to the sink, not being able to be used.
Right.
But it's there for when I, get around to eventually repairing it. Like, I have a reason for it, but it's just like, yeah, I should probably just get rid of some of these and just fix the electric one because that's
Yeah,
the smart thing to do.
But I like that the two of them have kind of normal jobs. Like, his job is working in the history of TV, but at the end of the day, it's not watching TV shows. It's just documenting stuff and transferring it to digital. Like, that feels like kind of a regular job,
essentially.
Yeah, like, and I think I really like that about it. I think the kind of the most fantastic thing in this movie really is their friend, the Toni Collette and Ben Falcone relationship, where they kind of feel a little bit larger than life, and probably got the biggest laughs from me of her just being like, "Boy, if I was just planning on being single," and he's like, "What are you talking about? Right? Why do you keep bringing this up?"
Their relationship feels like one of those dysfunctional relationships that somehow manages to work. We've all known people like
they've been together for 25 years and they're fighting every single moment of the day.
Yeah, but it works. For whatever reason, it works, and that's fine. Like, I love the fact that she's a psychiatrist or a psychologist who can't get her own crap together. Like, you move
feels very accurate.
Like, exactly. It's that whole thing. It's like the cops and criminals are 1 millimeter away from each other on like the spectrum kind of thing. It's like, you're a psychiatrist and you need a psychiatrist because every time we see your house, the furniture is in a different place, and you're constantly psychoanalyzing your husband.
I love when he comes in the room and he's like, why do you keep doing this? It's just like, this has to be the fight, like, every couple of months. He was like, why is the house what is happening?
Dude, every month. Try like every 2 weeks, it looks like, based on the frequency of moving and that stuff around.
But what I think made me so happy about this movie is that groundedness, this down-to-earth kind of writing for this movie extended into their big, not fight, but the static between the two of them. Like, when they go out to that party near the end of the second act, and she is just picking and picking of all the stuff that she's just parroting from his ex-wife. I like that everybody calls her out, and they're just like, why are you, like, bullying him? And she's like, I'm not bullying him. And he's like, yeah, maybe you kind of are.
And then she's drunk in the car, and it's like, wait, are you driving me home? And he's like, yes.
Well, and I love his line. He's just like, I thought you liked me. And like, he just addresses it head on, and it's just like, man, you were pretty cruel to me tonight, and like, you're not gonna stay at my house. I'm not gonna stay with you. Like, you gotta sort your stuff out. And I really like that there's that kind of down to earth. There's no like big explosive blow up where they're yelling and screaming at each other. It's just like, hey man, like, I thought we were better than this together. You know, this isn't what we are.
The first date is a good example of that, like, where there is some connection, some fireworks,
a little bit of spark.
Can you turn the music down because I'm old? That is a great like.
He's
sequence.
Like, no. Yeah.
Like, that's a great moment, and then like he leans in for the kiss, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not sure," and it's like, cool, like, and they go their separate ways. It's really nice. Not gonna lie, I did kind of hate his daughter for the longest time, because his daughter very much feels like a spoiled rich brat who took his car because hers is in the shop and she doesn't like the rental. He's a giant man.
I love him squeezing into that like, rental
spark. It's so terrible.
That's so good. Yeah.
Get your foot down, dude. No, she doesn't get to take the big Audi. She gets to take the tiny little thing because she's a tiny human.
And you can kind of see him like struggling with kind of treating her the best he can, because he is having a hard time with letting her go and letting her kind of be her own person in college. And it seems like it's an extension of that, where it's like, yeah, she can drive the nice rental because, you know, she's going to school in a couple of weeks, so, you know, what's it gonna
it's a mixture of that and clearly the arguments over parenting style that is mentioned. It's like, the mother won most of these fights based on her Oh yes. Oh, Juilliard has gone downhill in the past since in the
Oh
recent history,
man,
and it's
what a
like,
like true to
dude, you're
life scene.
4. Come on.
Yeah, I love that scene because it's just like that everyday snottiness that you run into from people, where it's like, well, I'm going somewhere else, but Sarah Lawrence just let anybody in nowadays, and it's like, bro, shut up.
You're like 12. Shut
That's
up.
right. That's
Like
right. Like,
you don't get to make those judges
yeah,
like at all.
yeah, and
Oh, it's solid. Like
yeah,
it's solid all around. Like I feel.
and I appreciate that the movie isn't love at first sight. Like they don't even really they're cordial to each other when they first meet, but
They,
she tells him
yeah.
like there's nobody attractive at this party whatsoever, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. He doesn't even take it personally. He's just like, you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm. And he says the same thing, but he's probably also like, let's talk about the optics of this, where every woman in this movie is essentially smoking hot, regardless.
Hmm.
Like
Right.
regardless of their age. The daughter's friend's mother wearing the same dress as the daughter, and the daughter's
Right.
making fun of her. It's like, no, she looks hot.
Yeah.
Like like I get it, she's your mom and everything, but no, you kind of like he's probably come from a relationship where that was the thing,
Mm. Sure.
and he probably has been put off the quote unquote hot ones stereotypes because he's dealt with that in his marriage.
Well, and I like that the movie kind of addresses uh his appearance too, because and it's never really mean about it until like his ex-wife
His ex-wife
is
is
mean
mean
about
about
it,
her.
but she's mean. But like there's always the movie seems to be kind of poking and prodding around Ava's character about like, you look better than he does. That's what the movie is saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I like her character's answer is always just sort of like, yeah, but I like him. Like it doesn't matter. Like whatever. It's just who cares. And I really
Yeah.
respect that they don't. The mean character goes out of her way to be mean about him, and her
Mm-hmm.
response to it is sort of like, yeah, but you know, he's like a big cuddly guy. I like him. I like it. I like
Yep.
his thing. Um,
I
and I
do
like
like the arguments in this are all grown up. Like the
yes,
whole, I just looking at my notes as well. Even like the regular ones, the massage table up the stairs. It's like he sees me every
he
single
heard me
week,
close my door. He knows I'm here.
and he's not. It's like, did you ask? It's like, no, and it's
Right.
like that is the quintessential argument, I think, for people of mine and your generation
Right.
is we are old school and new school at the same time. So I'm sure
Yes.
you, like me, by default would offer to help and help.
Right.
But anyone even just a couple of years younger than us is probably going to be like, well, if they need help, they'll ask because I'm
Right.
not supposed. It's a difficult thing to step into because it's like, then am I being sexist by asking to help? Am I not being
Right.
sexist by not asking to help? It's trepidatious water that you slug into in that kind of situation. And it's like,
Mm.
it's cool. Like she learns, she asks for help, and he's like, "Oh crap, I didn't even think about that." It's like,
Right.
there you go.
One of my favorite lines from him is just like, "Gosh, this thing's heavy." And it's just like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, dude. It's a table.
it's really good. But yeah, I like that extends to, their kind of big fight after he finds out that his new girlfriend and his ex-wife are friends, and
Mhm.
she can't just tell him the truth of like,
Yeah,
I had my
learned.
hand in the cookie jar and you caught me, and I'm sorry. I lied to you.
Mhm.
I lied to her. I lied to your kid. I'm lying to my daughter. I'm lying to everybody.
Yeah, and the daughter doesn't even meet him. Her daughter never meets him in the entirety of this
true.
movie.
That's true. And then I like that there's how they resolve is just sort of like, you messed up. I messed up. We're kind of we both kind of messed up, but I think together we're better than this. So we're gonna apologize. We're gonna laugh it off, and maybe we'll kind of get back to it.
Yeah, I like the I don't usually park in front of your house.
Yeah.
I usually just drive by is a
Mm-hmm.
very good
Well,
line.
and him just being
Um,
like, I drive by every once in a while too.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I like them being drawn back to each other in a way that feels
Yes.
kind of natural.
I feel like that's part of that whole thing is they're taking the advice that each other are giving each other. Like especially on
Yes.
her side, like she asks for help for the table, which is what he suggested,
Yep.
and all of a sudden the guy's like, "Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like maybe they are good for each other." And so
Mm.
this is where my meat to bun to condiment ratio
Sure. Let's
completely
talk about
goes
the
out
meat
the
cute
window.
sandwich.
Uh-huh. I like the introduction. It's a slow. This movie is slow. Like let's just get
Sure,
that out of the way. But
100%.
it's slow, but it does move pretty quickly in its 1 hour 35
Mm-hmm.
thing. I like the way they meet. I think there's a very good thing. Good. The way they meet is very good. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a good, nice, good, solid build throughout. The relationship building is fantastic too.
Yep.
The conflict is it this in a way this is very much like a horror movie trope. The conflict is there almost immediately,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just building until you get to the point where the conflict is revealed.
Yeah, and it kind of
Like it's
explodes.
yeah, it's building that tension of she knows this, when is everybody else going to find out?
Yep.
And the the bun, so to speak, the resolution, the thing that
Mm-hmm.
finalizes the movie, isn't answered. It's not
Right.
stated whether they get back together. It essentially Sopranos itself.
Yeah, they kind of get back to
Making dumb
balance.
jokes at each other.
Yeah, like he made that joke about, I bought some end
I have
tables.
I have
Yeah.
night tables.
Yeah, and she's like, really? And he goes, no.
No.
And then she laughs, and then that's credits. Like, I feel like
Uh-huh.
that's the 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 leaning towards them healing in that
Yes.
moment, and her kind of like putting her head on his shoulder, and then that's the credits. And I was like, that's perfect. Like that's the resolution to the thing that I want. That a big thing happened in a human way, like a realistic way, and we don't need to see them like spend the next half hour talking through it. It's just sort of like, yeah, we could probably work through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a very solid ending. I think
Yep.
the ratio is a little off because
Sure.
the conflict takes up most of this movie, where it's like that tension builds going on, and Tony Collette being in on the whole thing is also hilarious.
Yeah.
When they do the dinner with each other, like the double date, and he starts doing the guacamole thing,
Uh-huh.
and she leans way in, and her husband starts talking, and she's just giving him this look as if to say, "Don't stop! Now is not the time.
Don't
No,
say
no."
it. Not right now. Yeah.
Like that's really solid.
Yep.
Like, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. This handles it well. I like the
Yeah.
fact that it does just basically cut and run at the end.
Yep.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where it's like, if I'm judging this from the same thing from the last one, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Yeah.
it is a little off, but I still like it. I think it ends well. Like,
Yep.
it's fine. I like when we get given the make your own mind up thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this movie a lot. And I think the more that I think about it and the more that we talk about it, the more that I like it, just because it feels like number one, I guess we haven't really talked about it. The chemistry between the two of them feels great.
It's so good.
Yeah, and it
Like,
feels
it's
really
real good.
natural.
Yeah. And like, I like the fact that, I think I've said it before, I don't like awkward or cringe,
Yeah.
generally speaking. But the awkward and cringe in this are things that are understandably awkward or cringe. Like, these are things that, like, I would struggle with. There's a lot let me tell you, going into the dating world in your 30s is not easy,
Right.
like, at all. So it's one of those things where it's like, I guess, maybe.
Right.
Uh,
But again,
this
it
is-
all feels human. Like, it feels very grounded and feels like something you'd go through.
uh-huh.
That I think it feels really great. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones you can see why people recommended it, where it's like, yeah, all right, I get it. Yeah, that's a good recommendation.
Yeah, it really is, and it's genuinely it's a nice, slow, heartwarming movie with a little
Yeah.
bit of awkwardness mixed in.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Rotten Tomatoes rating here. 95% on the tomato meter.
Holy crap!
Wow. And 75% for audience score. One of those ones where
I'm in the
I
middle.
understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would probably put myself in the middle. I think I would throw myself up there as like at like a 8.5.
Yeah,
to be
ditto.
honest.
And Letterboxd has it at 3.5, which is it only
Out
has
of 5,
30.
right?
Yeah, it only has 36 ratings, which seems pretty low.
Low.
For
I mean,
kinda-
Letterboxd is relatively new, and
it-
this is an
it's
older
not
movie.
a Letterboxd movie either. You know, like I feel like people are going to go in there and kind of either rate it 5, like us, or rate it 1 because it's slow. So, you know, that's not entirely. IMDb has 64,000 ratings. It's 7.0 out of 10. So like that's probably a more accurate number. But
Yeah, but Rotten Tomatoes, that tells you overwhelmingly positive. Like,
yeah,
for 100 reviews, 95 of them were positive. That's
Yeah.
a pretty solid thing.
that's super super cool. All right, well that's enough said. Another pleasant surprise from this season, and we got 3 more movies. Next one is gonna be a classic. So I hope
Yes,
you'll join us.
it is.
I hope you'll join us then. Bye.
Bye.